If you regularly watch this show, you know that Donald Trump's press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, is a fan least favorite, someone we love to make fun of because she is just so incredibly bad at her job. And a recent announcement, really a recent decision she made, shows just how bad Karoline Leavitt is. She has decided to run away from the press in a role in which she has to show up to. And that'll all make sense in just a minute. It'll all make sense how scared she is. It'll all make sense why she is running away actively from her job. Literally not doing her job because the Trump scandals continue to mount. We're going to get into the embarrassing moment for Karoline Leavitt. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into this moment, we need a bit of context of the terrible moments we've seen from Leavitt lately, like this one right here.
Fighting back by appealing, fighting back by using the full weight of the White House counsel's office and our lawyers at the federal government who believe that this injunction is entirely unconstitutional. And it is, for anybody who has a basic understanding of the law. You cannot have a low-level district court judge filing an injunction to usurp the executive authority of the President of the United States. That is completely absurd. And as the executive of the executive branch, the President has the ability to fire or hire. And you have these lower level judges who are trying to block this president's agenda. It's very clear. And as I just cited, I was appalled by the statistic when I saw it this morning. In 1 month, in February, there have been 15 injunctions of this administration in our agenda. In 3 years under the Biden administration, there were 14 injunctions. So it's very clear that there are judicial activists throughout our judicial branch who are trying to block this president's executive authority. We are going to fight back. And as anyone who saw President Trump and his legal team fighting back, they know how to do it. He was indicted nearly 200 times and he's in the Oval Office now because all of the indictments, all of these injunctions have always been unconstitutional and unfair. They are led by partisan activists who are trying to usurp the will of this president, and we're not going to stand for it. Thanks, guys.
So after Donald Trump's meltdown at the Department of Justice yesterday, I thought it was important to continue to bring up the clear lawfare we are seeing from this administration. Remember just a couple of months ago when it was Joe Biden who was launching some campaign of supposed retribution against Donald Trump by allowing Donald Trump to be held accountable for breaking the law far before President Biden was even president. I just can't believe we have to deal with this level of hypocrisy. When Donald Trump went to the DOJ to explicitly call for his political enemies and journalists to be jailed, but Joe Biden allowing Merrick Garland to not do his job to the full extent of what he should have. And if he had, Donald Trump would be in jail right now and not president. That's lawfare, but Trump isn't. So it's just nonsensical. But Karoline Leavitt is actively calling for an abandonment of the judiciary and for Donald Trump to once again turn his back on the Constitution. That is the state of play here, because she clearly doesn't understand how our government works. And it's not just that. Before we get to... you're going to really laugh at what Karoline Leavitt just did. But of course, we need to take a look at this moment right here.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary.
So like I said, she doesn't understand our government. She's just, at this point, being mocked to her face. People know that she's dumb. It's probably because I say it so often. But she has recognized that and made a little decision to not do her job because of it. And we can see that in this article right here. Trump Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt backs out of White House Correspondents' Dinner roast, running from the press. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt is skipping this year's White House Correspondents Association dinner. I will not be in attendance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that's breaking news from the Sean Spicer Show, the 27-year-old said on Friday during an appearance on the Sean Spicer Show. The April event traditionally invites a comedian to perform a roast of the sitting president and their administration. It's the main source of revenue for the White House Correspondents Association, which supports journalists covering the president. President Donald Trump didn't attend any of the White House Correspondents Association dinners during his first term, deviating from a tradition that goes back numerous administrations. Leavitt's news follows the Trump administration's controversial move to select which journalists make up the White House press pool. In February, the administration barred the Associated Press from the Corps for refusing to refer to the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. I'm rolling my eyes after Trump renamed the body of water in January. Other traditional outlets like Bloomberg and Reuters also no longer have a permanent spot, while right-wing media outlets like Blaze and Newsmax have been included. These well-deserving new players will help spread President Trump's message, Leavitt said in February. She added that it was time for the pool to reflect the media habits of the American people in 2025. The White House Correspondents Association President Eugene Daniels said that the public can no longer trust pool reports. Reporting members of the White House press corps share with other outlets, and that the administration's push to control who covers the president tears at the independence of a free press in the United States. So Karoline Leavitt is not going to an event honoring journalists who cover the White House in an effort to raise money for those journalists so they can cover the White House, because she is afraid to be made fun of for attacking journalists who cover the White House. What a shock that is. Running away from her job. It's her job to show up, by the way. She's supposed to show up. So is the president. Joe Biden did it. He took the jokes because he's not a coward and a baby. Karoline Leavitt's not gonna. I thought we'd love free speech. Remember when Elon said legalize comedy? Are we not doing that anymore? Is the legalized comedy gone? Is it just for racism? Is that the comedy that Elon's really focused on reviving, on bringing back, on uplifting? That's fine. But when comedian Bill Burr makes fun of Elon, his account gets banned, gets flagged, gets removed. So what's get legalized? I don't know. Clearly they don't. This is what I'm saying. Karoline Leavitt, not good at her job, but what a shock that is. It's not a shock, actually. It's not. It's not a shock that these people are trying to run away from accountability. It's not a shock that they are avoiding topics on their failing economy, their weaponization of the DOJ, but it's now upon us because clearly not only the White House, but too many Democrats in the House and Senate, Chuck Schumer, don't want to do their jobs. So it's time for a little bit of agency from us. And Chris Hayes did a great job talking about that in a clip right here.
There is, this moment, I think it's fair to say, a broad frustration with what we just saw from a handful of Senate Democrats led by the leader, Chuck Schumer. Everyone from Senator Bernie Sanders to former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger and lots of people in between opposed the effort to allow Trump's continued assault on the federal government. Folks wanted to draw a line in the sand and say we cannot operate under the normal set of political rules here. And as painful as shutting down the government might be, the Democrats, as the opposition, needed to use any leverage available to them. Leader Schumer and 9 other Democratic senators saw it differently. They all voted to move to a vote on the shutdown vote to continue to fund the government. It's dispiriting. It's even infuriating to a lot of folks. But we've been saying on this program, the bulwark against tyranny in this country is not politicians. It's us. All of us in every walk of life who hold fast to the American promise of government of, by, and for the people, not the debased whims of a wannabe dictator and billionaire weirdos. No kings, not ever. If there was any good news on this otherwise bleak day, it's every single hour of every single day, folks are waking up, and there is a dawning awareness that it's time to fight back. Donald Trump's project is as clear as day. He wants to dismantle the system of self-governance and checks and balances and to create a presidential dictatorship that does not depend on the will of the people. His model is Turkey, Russia, Hungary, places where the strong man rules no matter what, and you don't get a say, whether there are elections or not. That is his goal. It's clear as day. He basically enunciates it daily. And everyone else needs to be asking, how do you stop that from happening? How can you use whatever nonviolent tools are at your disposal to stop this unlawful power grab? How can we, as Americans, as supporters of democracy and the Constitution, build a united front across ideological lines in defense of marginalized people, the ones he's coming for first, in an almost literal reenactment of the famous Niemöller poem, in defense of working and middle-class people against the pillaging of oligarchs, heck, in defense of elites and powerful people who are using their platforms and power to preserve the American way of life. Right now, it doesn't seem like Democratic leadership understands that yet. But in many ways, and I know this sounds weird to say it right now, they are simply not what's important here. Stay focused on what's important. People are what's important. We're what's important. Public opinion is what's important. Civil society is what's important. And it's getting activated and organized every single day. Every day, the movement is growing. I mean, Republican representatives are being told to stop holding town halls because their own voters will not stop showing up to yell at them about what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing.
I was proud to vote recently for the House budget resolution, which provides the framework to we should abolish the U.S. Department of Education. The decisions need to be made back on the state level.
I believe that the president is very supportive of Ukraine. Like him or not, Elon Musk has brought a lot of really smart people to Doge.
And you wonder why folks don't want to do these town halls.
Wonder. The protests against Musk don't end there. There's something really remarkable happening right now. I'm not sure people have really quite gotten their arms around this. We are seeing this organic bottom-up movement against Musk's signature company, Tesla. Some activists just put up a website with a simple message, right? Sell your Teslas, dump your stock. And then an entire Tesla takedown movement has sprung up in response. And they've got a map where all the protests are planned all across the country. It's been happening for about a month. This weekend alone, there are more than 100 protests planned at dealerships, Tesla dealerships across the country, from Brooklyn to Toledo.
It is our job to fight back. That is now the responsibility on us. I wish the people that we worked so hard to elect could help with that endeavor, but pretty soon we'll have new people, some new leadership turning things around. And we're going to be talking about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.